What's up, YouTube? Oh boy. Okay, so I'm gonna talk to you all about something. So, I hated YouTube ads because I was watching a video. I was gonna watch a video, but then one time I felt like not skipping this YouTube ad because I saw Ralph Macchio and I'm like, hey, and I knew who Ralph Macchio was from The Karate Kid. Now, when I saw that Cobra Kai Cobra Kai was gonna be a TV show, I was like, wait a minute, and it was just a Karate Kid show. And I was like, cool, because the Karate Kid is my favorite movie of all time. So I'm gonna talk about it. So when I was let's think, I was 18 years old. I went to the movie theater in over the summer with an old friend who did pass away. Rest in peace to Pat and my mom, and we went to go watch the Karate Kid remake. I had never rented the Karate Kid. I'm kind of ashamed that I never did before, but so I was taking a look at it, and then one time I had watched the remake a handful of times. Then I watched the original in 2010 on Netflix. And at first I was like, I actually like the remake better. But that was only because I saw it first. Then I rewatched. The original is a lot better. Now, to be fair, I wasn't born when The Karate Kid came out. It came out in 1984. I was born in 1992. But by the time I watched it, I was 18. So I'd watched all three of them. And then I figured out there was a fourth one because there was The Karate Kid Part 2, Karate Kid Part 3, than the next Karate Kid. Now, first, before I talk about Cobra Kai, I need to talk to you about this. So the first Karate Kid is is a standard story. It's about a guy who gets beat up by bullies and over the top teachers. So he learns karate from a very wise karate master. Then he improves himself in fighting in a tournament. So what happens is he goes all the way into the finals, and then Bobby got disqualified by using a cheap shot on Daniel, and then Daniel got healed by Mr. Miyagi, who did his little rub-in thing, healed him, and then he went to go fight Johnny, and he beat Johnny. Well, first Daniel scored 1 point by punching him in the stomach, then scored a second point by hitting him in the back, and then Johnny kicked Daniel in the face, and then got another point by kicking him in the side, and then he punched Daniel in the face, and Daniel fell to the ground. And then the second time, and then he took out Daniel's knee by going like that, and then he got warning for illegal contact, and then Daniel stood in a crane position, jumped and kicked him in the face and knocked him down and got the point. And then Johnny said, "You're alright, LaRusso, congratulations." Or, "You're alright, LaRusso, good matching." And then, but the thing that bugged me, the second one was really good too. I'm gonna be honest. The second one wasn't as good as the first one, but it wasn't that bad. It had a few schmaltzy moments, but it continued the story. And it took place in Okinawa. I think it was shot in Hawaii, I think. And his opponent in this one was much tougher than Johnny. Trust me, this guy fought to the death for Daniel. This was the best fight of Daniel. Daniel's just like bam, 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 bam. In the end, 12 punches. There is a problem with a part 3, and the part that I don't understand. Daniel acts like they said Daniel's pussy in this one. Here's the thing: Daniel fought to the death in the second one, and in this one he gets lucky. He just scoops him, punches him, but he remembered that the best karate is still inside. It had the best Miyagi fight, but still, Daniel should have been able to take down this guy because he fought to the death in the second one. This one seemed like a much more forced one. Plus, Kreese was back in it, and I don't understand why. Well, John Kreese was really his portrayal in this one was really watered down in comparison to the first Karate Kid. I was really disappointed by his portrayal of John Kreese in this one. Well, what I've seen a lot of people is that the Karate Kid should have been the first one, and the second one should have been the third one. I could have seen that. That would have been interesting. But yeah, the part three repeated the first one, and the fight was just terrible because it's like The Hangover and The Hangover 2 and The Hangover 3. Those are just sequels that don't need to be made. Usually comedy movies just run out of ideas, and usually sitcoms lose their mojo when they go on for too long. I think Sabrina the Teenage Witch lost its mojo in season 7. How I Met Your Mother lost it in season 8 and 9, which is my favorite sitcom and was my favorite show, until I rewatched Cobra Kai just recently, and it just gets better and better. Every time I watch it, it gets better and better. And season 4 was awesome. This show is phenomenal. Okay. That being said, now I can actually say that I'm actually proud to be a Karate Kid and Cobra Kai fan. I got my Karate Kid poster right there. Okay, now I need to move on with discussion. Now there is something that I really want to lay out there for you people. This show, Cobra Kai, oh my gosh. So I actually watched the trailer. I was only allowed to watch, I could only watch 2 episodes because they were for free. But that was only because I couldn't afford YouTube Red at one point, YouTube Premium. But then when I was sitting and watching, I was watching the trailer, and then I just sat down, subscribed to it with my debit card back then, and then back in 2019, I think it was, I went straight through season 1, just sat there and watched it in under a day, fell instantly in love with it. Watched the second one, even more in love with it. But before I get on to more discussion about some reviews about this show, I'm going to tell you all what I think. Because usually drama shows don't seem to lose their mojo as easily as sitcoms. Okay, a sitcom. Sitcoms are comedies. How I Met Your Mother lost its mojo during season 8 and 9. 9 was the worst, but 8 wasn't that bad, but 9, you know. Full House kind of ratings were starting to plummet. The Big Bang Theory kind of was the same thing. I think its comedy kind of was getting forced, but it wasn't that bad. 2.5 Men lost its mojo. After Charlie Sheen was fired, that show shouldn't have been going on. Now, drama shows, I think seem to have a stronger hold on them. Now, I'm going to talk about it. So, you start off, it's been 34 years after Daniel beat Johnny, and Johnny was rich at first in Karate Kid. Now Daniel's rich and has his own car dealership, and Johnny is poor and cleans septic tanks, houses, sets up stuff for people. And then what he did in the end was he said no. Or he said no to some other people. What he did, or what I should say, that Miguel, the guy who's there, is over at the over at a gas station buying diarrhea medicine for his grandma, and he gets pushed into a car, and Johnny went, "Hey, watch the car!" And then they say he eats here like a bum. They were talking about Johnny. He said, "I think I know this guy. That's the guy who cleaned my dad's septic tank," or something like that. And he said, "That's why he explains why he smells like shit." And he said, "Trust me, you're pissing off the wrong guy at the wrong time," or something like that. And he said, "Get the hell out of here, loser," or something. And then he beats them all up, and then he got arrested. But then he was talking with Miguel, and Miguel said, and then he told me he knew karate, and then he started teaching Miguel so Miguel could protect himself. But then he was banned from seeing Miguel from Miguel's mother. But then Miguel asked his mom if she could please help, and then she allowed him to stay. And then Johnny And then Miguel got into a fight one time with Kyler, the bully from the original. They like dumped diarrhea medicine in his hair, and called him Rhea, because he was buying diarrhea medicine. And then he took Miguel under his wing. Miguel said, "Hey Kyler, why don't you shut the hell up and stop being such an asshole?" He said, "Looking for another beatdown, Rhea? Ready for your lame ass karate?" This time he said, "It's not lame ass karate. Punch. It's Cobra Kai." And then Miguel and Miguel starts getting thrown on tables by Kyler, and then he beats up Kyler and the rest of the bullies. That was interesting. And then kids were getting bullied all over school. There was a girl named Aisha who Yasmin, who was one of Samantha's friends, she called Aisha Faglisha, which actually kind of pissed me off, but there was also some other stuff going on. Now, there is something else I want to mention, is that Daniel is also teaching a student named Robbie. Little did he know that was Johnny's son. But I'm not going to try to review this show as long as I review other stuff, because my reviews tend to get too long. But season 1 is really, really, really good. Season 2, I think, is really intense, because there's a big school fight with weapons, and it's like all the karate students are getting into a huge fight. There's one of my favorite characters, Samantha LaRusso, the daughter of Daniel. She is a really, really well put together character, and she gets a lot of hate. I'm not one of the people who hates her. She's my third favorite character. Now, I'm gonna be honest with all of this, because there's 4 seasons to this show so far, and every season has a strong hold onto it. And season 4 received very low ratings, but on Rotten Tomatoes it got another 100. Season 3 had some really good episodes too, but this one has had 4 great seasons. Tremendous. Like, there's a lot of character development. There's a person called Eli, whose name is Eli Moskowitz, who had something wrong with his lip, and then they said, "Lips give me something," and then he changed, spiked up his hair, and turned it into a blue mohawk and a hawk tattoo on his back, which was amazing. And then in the second one, he kind of changed it to, instead of blue, changed it to red, and in season 3 it was still red, then in season 4 it was purple, until they shaved it off. Someone shaved it off of him. Now, I want to be honest with the character development. Miguel is a really good character. Him and Sam did break up in season 1, and then got back together in season 3, because she was dating Robbie. But I think she connects better with Miguel than she does with Robbie. And there's also a lot of other stuff out there. I love the cast. I love Ralph Macchio. I love William Zabka, Mary Mauser. I don't know how to pronounce Miguel's name. There's Jacob something plays. There's Johnny DiCenzo, who plays Dimitri, who's a very underrated character. He's hilarious and a great character, and he actually develops a lot in the show. He's Robbie. He's Hawk's best friend, and then they break off and then become friends again because he saved Dimitri. Well, actually broke Dimitri's arm at one point. That was what pissed me off about Hawk, but then he saved him. And then went to Miyagi-Do, you know? These characters have gone through a lot of development. I love Martin Kove as John Kreese, even though I don't really like John Kreese or Terry Silver. But I will be honest, this show is phenomenal. It gets better and better every time I watch it. So, I was getting ready for season 4, so I hit play. And then I just sat there, I'm like, wait a minute. This is better. Because it gets better and better every time I watch it. I'm not joking. And I just watched season 4 2 times yesterday. It was so amazing. Okay, so I've been a Karate Kid fan since 2011. That's what I became obsessed with. Was my favorite movie was The Karate Kid, and I became obsessed with it. My senior quote was wax on, wax off. But it said wax on right hand, wax off left hand, Mr. Miyagi. It's supposed to be wax on, wax off. And what Miyagi teaches is what Daniel teaches. and some people don't understand it. Wax on, wax off, builds up your muscle mass. So wax on, wax off, sand the floor, paint the fence, paint the house, builds up your muscle mass. And then Mr. Miyagi went like to attack him, and he did wax on, wax off, sand the floor, paint the fence, paint the house to block his attacks. And one guy said, why didn't you just show him the moves? Maybe rather than show him the moves, you build up your muscle mass. So you build up your muscles rather than, you teach kata. You learn how to, with Miyagi, you learn kata, like Tai Chi kata. You learn wax on, wax off, sand the floor, paint the fence, paint the house, and you build up your muscle mass. So there's two ways of that. And then a third way, a third thing he taught was the crane. You do this, stand on one leg, jump, kick, and so Daniel teaches that to his students and teaches them how to find balance. And season 1 is, I mean, people have different opinions of how they rate seasons. On Rotten Tomatoes, all of them have their own ratings. Cobra Kai Season 1 received 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, and then 95% of audience score. I'd give it 1,000,000%, I'd give it infinity that cannot be beaten percent. Because if you already say infinity that cannot be beaten, you've already won. And then season 3 got 90%, and 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 90 by audience. But I really enjoyed that season, and 90% on season 2, 91 on audience, and season 4 just got 192% up here. Season 4 had some really, really good parts too. The show's kind of intense, but I'm seriously obsessed with this show. When you build up an obsession, like if you get obsessed with an actor, it's something different. Now I'm going to show you something. So I was showing what I got for Christmas. So I got this for my brother, which was my Miyagi-Do karate shirt, and I already have one, but I'm not sure where it went, so I asked for one. And then my brother also bought me this because I thought it was wicked awesome. This shirt is awesome. My Eagle Fang shirt. Now I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't mind a Cobra Kai shirt, even though I have a phobia of snakes. And so does my fiance. But one of my former managers at McDonald's before I quit gave me this Cobra Kai blanket, which was awesome. And I love it. She saw it over at the store, and then she bought it for me because I had told her about Cobra Kai back and forth a few times, and I told her how awesome it was. And I was already a fan of the Karate Kid movies since back then in the day. Cobra Kai is a show that's still going, and I was actually pleased it moved to Netflix because I didn't have to pay to watch it anymore. Netflix already actually had interest in it, and then it moved to YouTube Red, then it moved to Netflix, and I don't even have to pay for it because my mom pays for Netflix. We've been subscribed to Netflix for years. We've had Netflix since 2007. A lot of people criticize Netflix for having no good shows, but they got Cobra Kai. And you know what's funny about that, actually? A lot of people canceled because they got rid of their favorite shows, but now Cobra Kai should be the best. You know what? It's also kind of funny because Cobra Kai becomes Netflix's #1 overnight. Yeah, it's its #1 right now. And plus, I never get tired of watching this show. Never get tired of thinking of this show. It is so awesome. I'm so thankful that my favorite movie became my favorite TV show. My favorite movie has a TV show now. For years, my favorite show was How I Met Your Mother. It was like How I Met Your Mother, Full House. Now it's Cobra Kai, How I Met Your Mother, Full House, Boy Meets World, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Also, another really good show is Stargirl, which I just finished season 1 and 2. That's a phenomenal show too. But Cobra Kai, in my books, unbeatable. Just way too good. It's like infinity that cannot be beaten. My favorite show. It's incredible. All the acting, the writers, the creators, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They're making a phenomenal show. This show, I can't even give it to... Even giving it that much praise is still not enough because it's so good. The character development, the characters are likable, the actors are great. This is just, it's all well put together. You know, The Karate Kid's been my favorite movie since I was 19. And it became my favorite show just recently. Because it gets better and better every time I watch it. How I Met Your Mother. Funny, actually, it was kind of funny because Ralph Macchio and William Zabka were both in it. But I would like to say thank you all for watching. Please check out this show. If you never watched this show, what are you doing? Okay. I'm going to recommend, this is the best show I've ever seen. It's phenomenal. It's great. It's based off my favorite movie. Now my favorite TV show is related to my favorite movie. Now I'm just going to say, check it out. And there are some fights that are really intense in this show. If you're not into that, then I understand. But if you are into a good action show, check it out. Alright, thank you all for watching. Stay up to date and subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos. And definitely, I'm going to collect more Cobra Kai stuff. Peace.